Hey everyone, it's Leo,
And Irma.
and you're hanging with
The
the Realest
realest
Realtors. We still have to find that karaoke app.
It's gonna happen.
It will.
My mission in life.
So, what do you want to talk about today?
So let's talk about five awareness because I get a lot of people asking me
Ooh.
questions about like, oh, is this? And I always thought that was true. So we're gonna give you the real lowdown today.
Okay, where do you want to start?
So first things first is myth number one: I need 20% down in order to be able to buy a house. Leo.
I don't have it. I don't have 20% down. It's okay. There's a lot of programs out there. Well, first off, the lowest that you can bring to the table is 3.5% down. There's also grants in certain areas. So you always want to check with lenders to see what kind of grants they might have going on. But this is obviously based upon your income. But 20% down is the conventional way of going, but there are many products out there that do 3.5% or higher.
Yeah.
So, for a $200,000 house, what that looks like is well, for one, it's 7 grand. 7 grand you'd have to bring to the table for a $200,000 condo or house. So you add, basically 3,500 per $100,000 of house.
Yeah. And another thing that people don't generally know is that you can get a conventional loan with as low as 5%.
Yeah,
And there are some lenders that have conventional loans at 3%, which is crazy.
yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of different programs, and you don't need 20% down. If you have it, great, amazing. It'll make your monthly payment a little bit lower.
Mhm.
But, talk to us, call us, we'll help you figure it out. Okay.
Absolutely.
Number
So, one that I want to talk about is excellent credit. I hear people saying my credit's not good. I have, this, that, and the third on it. What do you say to them?
So I say, you know what, you don't need to have a credit score of 800 to qualify these days. In general, you can qualify for a FHA loan, or you used to be able to, for 627, I believe is the number. And it all depends. So there are some lenders that will do it for even lower. I've worked with a few that have gone as low as 580, given,
Correct.
depending on the circumstances, of course. That's the whole thing. Everyone's situation is different. But if don't be fooled. You do not need to have a great credit score to be able to qualify. What we're really looking for is to make sure that you've been making payments and you've been
Mhm.
making the right steps to repair your credit.
And the
Basically.
other thing I wanted to just bring up is during this time, there has been some changes and modifications to
Yes.
the credit score. So you would definitely want to check with independent lenders. I don't take our word for it because things are changing with what's going on. And it's always good to start these conversations with lenders. And also starting these conversations with lenders might bring up some things that you might not have known of, and you might need to fix your credit in some sort of manner, which is fine. It's the journey of 5,000 steps starts with one.
Yeah. Disclaimer: the numbers that I said previously were historical data. So, and Leo's absolutely right. It's changing on a daily basis.
I
So
love hearing that.
okay. So number three, let's talk about low interest rates. So when people are shopping around for the best mortgage loan or whatever, I always hear, well, I want to have the lowest interest rate, which is great. I mean, I understand it, but you have to take other things into considerations, right, Leo?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to take in consideration your closing costs with that lender. A lot of the times you will get a low interest rate, or a lower interest rate than maybe some of the competitors, but they might be charging fees or points on the back end. So this is something that you definitely want to keep, notice of. Also you might not get the level of service from certain lenders from lender to lender, right? A lot of the times when we work with our lenders, we work with them because they do the best job, and sometimes that's worth it to get that to get your deal to the finish line,
Yeah,
right?
and yeah, and just like you said, like sometimes I've had programs where you can get a slightly higher interest rate, but they'll cover all of your closing costs. So definitely shop around for the best overall deal. What is the bottom line?
And you want to be most comfortable with who you're working with,
Yeah.
right? Because
So
at the end of the day, you can work with anybody or you can't,
yeah.
right? So that is a big factor. That's why we we definitely work with the same people over and over again because we know what they're like, we know that their work is good, and we know that they have competitive rates.
Yeah. All right. Number four,
Number
let's
4.
talk about closing costs.
Yes, let's talk about it.
What I
Talk about
find
it.
often is that people say, all right, well, I have my however much down for the down payment, but then they completely forget that they have to pay for closing costs.
Yeah.
Surprise. Don't be surprised, guys.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a surprise, but also there's, that's definitely, and usually averages, and this is not a staple thing,
Yeah,
roughly about 3% of the purchase price, the
for closing
closing.
costs. I think that's a safe estimate,
Yeah,
it's, and again, it all depends on what lender fees you're paying and what are closing costs. So closing costs are going to be the adjustments from the property. There, it's going to be legal fees. It's going to be survey and title fees,
appraisal and
appraisal.
inspection, things that you go through the entire process with. And when you come to the closing table, that's something that you're going to have to bring with you along with your down payment. However, there are ways that you can roll that into the mortgage. You could ask for a seller's concession. We normally tell people if they don't have to, don't do it, especially in a competitive market. But I think now is a great time to ask for those seller's concessions, and we could definitely have offline conversations about seller's concessions as well.
Yeah. And this one is sort of off topic.
Okay.
But I've been seeing a lot of like home buying programs like Rex Homes and things like that, where they'll say if you use one of their agents, they'll give you a rebate back. But don't be fooled by this. They're charging you to
Yeah.
pay for your buyer's agent, where in a normal transaction, as a buyer, you don't pay the buyer's agent, the seller pays the buyer's
Right.
agent. So
Right.
if you see a program where they're like, we'll give you money back, take a look at the fine print. They're
Right.
most likely charging you a fee that you shouldn't be paying and then giving you a portion back of that. So eyes open, guys.
Yeah,
Eyes
eyes wide
open.
open, and always ask us. Listen, my phone's always on. I get texts all the time. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, I
And
just got a couple.
asking me random questions about real estate, and I love it because I want to be the go-to person for my clients and my friends in my sphere. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Absolutely. So those were 5 little myths that we
No,
have.
that was 4. You forgot about all my student loan debt.
Oh, sorry, I went on a tangent. My bad, guys.
It's okay. So Irma, I can't buy a house right now. I have so much student loan debt. It's going to stop me from being approved for a mortgage. Uh, I have 30 years before I pay it all off.
Well, let's talk about it. How much is your debt to income ratio? Have you been making consistent payments? Have you consolidated? There's so many factors. So automatically just having student debt doesn't mean that you're going to not be able to qualify, but it does mean we have to take a look at what the other factors surrounding your finances are. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. And we might have to restructure some things,
yeah,
which is perfectly fine. We should be doing that generally, once a year, looking at your finances to see how you could restructure.
yeah,
Quite often, especially in real estate where we are, self-employed, we have to figure out unique ways of balancing, certain things all throughout the year. So we're constantly looking at restructuring things, possibly consolidating things, taking out certain loans to hold us over certain periods of time.
yeah.
So it's definitely something we should have a conversation about if you do
Yeah.
have
So
the
just
concern.
because you have student loan debt doesn't mean that you can't buy a home. So that's it, right?
That's everything.
Did it.
If you guys have any questions, our information will be on the next page. Please reach out to us. Take care.
Thanks for watching.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.